Your tips keep on working, and the talent keeps on growing. This week, you found 3 of America's Most Wanted. We'll tell you how. And we'll join the search for Leslie Rogan, a slippery bank robber on the run for more than 5 years. He's one of the FBI's 10 Most Wanted and one of their toughest cases. Then, see if you can help crack some of our toughest cases. Richard Church, all-American boy, wanted for murder. Stephen Harrington, escaped mental patient, suspected of murder. And the 2 unknown gunmen who got away on bikes. Tonight, they are America's Most Wanted's toughest cases.
America's Most Wanted.
I think I have seen this guy.
Please stop!
Probably nothing.
It is here that good and evil meet.
White shirt, armed with a knife and a revolver.
999, we have an officer down.
Good evening from Washington. It's Friday, December 14th, and I'm John Walsh. Tonight, a special lineup. We're going to take a look at some of our all-time toughest cases. What makes a fugitive so tough to find? And how can these guys just disappear? Police say they're creative. They change their names, move around, and lie a lot, and never let down their guard. As you meet our toughest cases tonight, we'll show you how each fugitive is unique in staying one step ahead of the law. Of all the fugitives we've encountered, the FBI says Gerald Reeves was one of the best at this. He knew that by changing his name and crossing state lines, his past wouldn't catch up with him. But with help from viewer tips and the Greensboro police, our reporters discovered his game and put together his string of aliases. When we told you about them last week, you spotted Reeves as Brian Hauser, and his days on the run came to an abrupt end. Gerald Ray Reeves was a hustler, working the streets of Hollywood.
I haven't seen you for a while.
Been up north, man.
Man, who are you hustling to get a car like this?
Hey, Sean!
Police say he was well known and liked to impress friends with stolen cars.
Is this your car?
Yeah,
God, this is so cool!
I like that. Are you hungry? You want to go for a ride, get something to eat?
Yeah.
Don't work too hard. Don't worry about that.
Find me.
Hey, they look good on you, babe.
In March 1990, Reeves met Barry Glick, a successful Hollywood businessman.
You sell the glasses, I pay you a salary and give you a place to stay. What do you say? You in or out?
Sure, that sounds like a good deal. Look, Barry, I'm just asking you for a loan, okay?
Although no one knows exactly what happened on the night of March 29th, police do say Gerald Reeves stabbed Barry Glick to death. After Glick's murder, police say Reeves crisscrossed the country. He used at least a dozen aliases, claimed to be an Australian, a U.S. Navy SEAL, and the son of a wealthy millionaire. The FBI says many people bought his act.
He said he was going to send me plane tickets to come out and see him. He said we could stop at a wedding chapel in Reno, get married, call my mom, and give her the good news.
He also asked me to be his girl. I mean, I had just met the guy.
I just think something's wrong with this person because he's acting kind of weird and all his stories don't match.
He had an Australian accent and told me he was from a small town in Australia.
He was giving us all these stories that he was a Navy SEAL, and he had a pierced ear and he had long hair.
In June, Reeves went to Las Vegas, where he met a woman from New Orleans. A week later, he was at her front door, but he didn't stay long.
And I looked out in the garage, and the light was on, my car was gone. And I looked in my purse, and my wallet was gone.
Reeves spent the July 4th weekend in Key West. While there, he met a woman from Greensboro, North Carolina. On July 22nd, he visited her, and police say he stole her car and camera. In August, Reeves was in New York City, where he worked in a bar. In November, Reeves took an Amtrak train to San Francisco. On the way, he met several women. One new friend from Santa Rosa had a camera.
These are our friends we met on the train. He was smiling and waving at the camera like, like he didn't, like he didn't care. So, I mean, he just knew everybody on the whole train. He was really friendly, and, you know, he joked about all of the women wanting to marry him off to their daughters.
Another woman on the train from Kensington, Maryland, gave Reeves her daughter's phone number.
My mother had been telling me about this guy, saying he was very nice. I'd probably get along great with him. She's found me a husband. And I was kind of mad at her at first. I said, you know, he could be on America's Most Wanted. He could be an axe murderer for all she knew. And then he'd called me on my answering machine after my mother had spoken to him.
Hi, Karen. I guess you're not home. This is your, I guess, from what your mom said, supposedly axe murderer. When I come and visit you, I'll make sure I leave my axe at home, okay? I'm still waiting for your call. Bye-bye.
But after last Friday's broadcast, your tips led the FBI to Reno, Nevada, where Reeves was passing himself off as an heir to a fortune.
He said that his father was a multimillionaire. He said he had 4 or 5 sisters. He said when his father passed away, they would each receive $10.5 million.
In fact, Reeves was flat broke. When he went to pick up some cash, police and FBI agents decided to collect.
Reeves made it to about this point. Myself and 2 FBI agents contacted him, identified ourselves, physically took him to the ground and handcuffed him.
The man who police say conned his way around the country had been taken, and he didn't appreciate the turnabout. Back in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, the parents of Barry Glick reflected on the events of the last few months.
One can go through so many adversities during their lifetime, sickness, sorrow, pain, of many descriptions from many sources, but nothing in life prepares a parent for the loss of a child. Parents don't normally bury children. Conversely, children usually bury parents.
Reeves is fighting extradition tonight, and he's in Reno's Washoe County Jail awaiting a December 28th hearing. Our first case tonight is an unusual one for us. We know so little about these 2 fugitives, we don't even know their names. But this crime was particularly brutal and brazen. It happened in broad daylight in the busy financial district of San Francisco. Here's what the FBI and eyewitnesses reported. It happens the same way every morning at the Bank of America World Headquarters in downtown San Francisco. Shortly before 10, an armored car pulls up to the Pine Street entrance concourse to pick up hundreds of thousands of dollars cash. And minutes later, every day, a second armored car arrives, this one delivering securities and certified mail.
If you're looking for a bike that's fast on the streets, then this is your bike.
Police believe the unidentified man who bought a blue Schwinn mountain bike on September 3rd, 1989, knew all about the armored car schedule. And so did his partner, who bought a blue Nishiki mountain bike from the same shop the very next day. The hit was carefully planned, military and precise. The bikers even covered the handlebars with drywall seam tape. No fingerprints. They knew they had to travel light to travel fast, so all they carried with them were their guns. And on September 7th, 1989, the bikers set out into San Francisco's Thursday morning rush hour traffic, on their way to the bank. The bikers were right on schedule, but one armored car was not so lucky in the downtown gridlock.
The armored car that was due there earlier made a traffic violation and was stopped by a traffic cop and cited or delayed in his arrival at the Bank of America headquarters. We knew that that armored car was conceivably carrying a large sum of money either to pick up or deliver.
The second armored car from Brinks was right on time. Clifford Spencer was only 24 years old and still a guard in training. His partner, Joseph Areola, was 53 and had worked for Brinks for 4 years. This morning was routine for them, a certified mail delivery to the bank, some Canadian currency for the foreign exchange. Nothing too heavy, nothing too risky. Robert Gee was also starting what he thought would be just another day.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? When Robert Gee saw the fallen guards, he thought he could help. There was no cash. The FBI says the gunman rode from the scene empty-handed.
Hey! Bank robbers on bikes! Bank robbers on bikes!
But in their wake, they left Joseph Areola dead. Robert Gee critically injured. Clifford Spencer partially paralyzed.
I didn't know I was injured until my blood started coming out of my head. I thought about I didn't want to die. I'm too young to die. I'd like to see the people responsible caught.
These individuals went there to kill the guards and spend as little time as possible at the location, get their booty, and get out. And that's exactly what they did, with the exception they got nothing.
Two men racing from the scene of a bloody murder on mountain bikes. They didn't go unnoticed. After more than a year, police still have very few clues in this well-planned crime. And the $125,000 reward being offered by Brinks and others is still unclaimed. Neither of these gunmen made any effort to disguise themselves. The FBI believes they've probably left San Francisco and could be anywhere in the country, possibly traveling together. Gunman number 1 is tall with a husky build. He smokes filtered cigarettes. Police say he's familiar with weapons and may have military experience. Gunman number 2 is a few inches shorter than his accomplice. He's also muscular but thin. Witnesses say he has large, bulging eyes, and he was also probably in the military. These composites aren't much to go on, but police are hoping one of these gunmen may have bragged to a friend who could be watching our show tonight. If you have any clues as to who these men are, call us at 1-800-CRIME-90. When we come back, an accused killer is off the streets, thanks to your help.
I made a decision that my gut feeling was that I didn't want him around me or my places of business.
Last week, we showed you the story of a couple wanted for murder. Kim Phillips was already in custody, but we needed your help to find Dennis Ray Butler. A viewer led police to New Orleans, where Lena Nozizwe reports they found a man calling himself Gus Gerhold.
He was shifty. Everybody knew him. He walked down the street and people waved, "Hi, Gus."
He's always been a great guy. He's always outgoing. He's always trying to help people.
The French Quarter in New Orleans is home to a lot of colorful people with secrets. So Gus Gerhold didn't stand out in the crowd. He was just another character in a tank top. Until last Friday, when your tips helped detectives learn his real identity was Dennis Ray Butler, a man wanted for murder. In December 1988, police say Dennis Ray Butler and topless dancer Kimberly Phillips met Tommy Head at the Sportsman's Lounge.
New best friend.
They saw Head as the perfect victim for Phillips to seduce and Butler to rob. Police say on March 6, 1989, Butler and Phillips went to Head's home in Ozark, Alabama to play out their scam of seduction and thievery.
I'm gonna take me a shower. Kim? Dennis?
Dennis?
Go to the car.
Police found Head the next day. He'd been stabbed 14 times in the chest and neck. His wallet and credit cards were missing. So were Butler and Phillips. After our broadcast last week, tips placed Butler in New Orleans, so police there called in Arthur Bartucci. He's a tough detective with more than 3 decades of experience in the French Quarter.
This is what I had right here to work off of, and I requested this fax to come through with the picture, and I took it from there and went back to the French Quarter, and we did our number.
Bartucci and his team hit the streets. They got lucky at the Deja Vu Bar and Grill, where Butler once worked as a delivery man.
I sent Colette and Walter over to look for the wanted man. As they neared the door, a gentleman fitting the description of the wanted man came out, and he walked in the direction of Maxwell. We followed him to that location.
When Butler arrived at Maxwell's, friends joked with him about the fact that someone matching his description had just been profiled on America's Most Wanted.
A friend of ours called to tell me that she'd been watching America's Most Wanted and that they saw a guy on the show that was a dead ringer for a friend of ours and that he was wanted for murder in Alabama. Shortly after that, he came in, and I jokingly said, well, we should call and turn you in and split the reward. And about that time, local New Orleans police walked in.
The wanted suspect approached me, came to the jukebox. At that time there, I identified myself as police and advised him that he was fitting the description of the wanted subject.
Those who knew Butler were not surprised by his troubles. They suspected Gus Gerhold might have a past to hide.
My gut feeling was that I didn't want him around me or my places of business.
Dennis Ray Butler is being held at the Orleans Parish Prison, awaiting extradition to Alabama, where authorities would like to bring him to trial for the murder of Tommy Head.
When we were in Miami 3 weeks ago, we told you about Operation Southern Star, a joint effort between U.S. Marshals and local law enforcement, which rounded up thousands of fugitives. One of the men who slipped through the net was Carlton Stroud. He was charged with selling narcotics within 1,000 feet of a schoolyard. Tonight, thanks to a tip from a Miami viewer, he's in the Metro-Dade County Jail, awaiting transfer to a Florida state prison. More of our toughest cases when we come back.
Coming up next.
Give me all your 20s and 100s.
One of the FBI's 10 most wanted sails away to freedom.
The man in our next case has made a career out of breaking the law. Agents say Leslie Rogie works hard at it and takes pride in his work. This is not only one of our toughest cases. At one time or another, Rogie's had a whole pack of police agencies on his tail. Local cops, the U.S. Marshals, even international authorities. And now he's reached the pinnacle of his career. Leslie Rogie's on the FBI's 10 most wanted list. Maybe tonight you can retire him.
Don't forget this.
I'll try to get back early.
Good luck, sweetie. Morning.
I'd like to open up a business checking account.
Fine. Welcome to the Bank of the Keys, Mr.
Mr. Nelson?
Okay, Mr. Nelson. I'll just need you to fill out a couple applications. I need you to fill out one of those, and one of these, and one of these. And I'll need to see some ID.
Some ID?
My driver's license, something like that.
How's this for ID? I'm making an early withdrawal. Don't hit that button, because if you do, I'll leave the call on this radio, and I will shoot you. Understand? Okay, now we're going to go to the vault. Nice and easy. Give me all your 20s and 100s. Come on, all of it.
That's it.
I'm impressed with your customer service. See you.
Lord, call the police. The guy in the blue suit just robbed us.
Leslie Ibsen Rogie began his criminal career in the late 1960s as a car thief. He then went on to burglaries and to bank robberies. On June the 4th, 1984, Rogie robbed the Islamorada Bank of the Florida Keys.
All right, is there anything else you can remember about him? You know, anything unusual?
He had a streak of white hair.
A streak of white hair?
His hair was brown, but he had a streak right down the middle, kind of like a skunk.
What do you think? I don't know. You guys have anything?
On the canvas?
We found a car abandoned, matches the make we have from the bank, and it appears to be a stolen vehicle. Canvass the area.
Unbelievable. They're still looking for landlubber.
Streak. Hey, Mike. This is the guy.
Hold on a second.
Mary, come on.
Not bad. 20,000, some change.
So, you gonna take it easy for a while?
What, you call this hard work? Well, maybe we ought to hit Bahamas first, and then sail to Mexico.
You're not thinking of retiring, though, are you, honey?
Retiring? Retiring from what? I never worked a day in my life. But you know, at this rate, if I don't quit soon, the bank's going to run out of money.
Does this look familiar?
That's him.
Are you sure?
Definitely, that's the guy.
Several weeks after the Islamorada bank robbery, the FBI was able to trace Rogie to an island in the Bahamas.
You're looking at your mate.
Wait a minute, sweetheart. Leslie Isbin Rogue, or is it Rogie? We have a Bahamian government search warrant. And this FBI gentleman would like to have a chat with you. Sir.
I've been in the right place, but it must have been the wrong time. I done said the right thing, but it must have used the wrong line.
You ever have a straight job, Rogie?
Are you kidding? I'm a bank robber. I rob banks for a living. Done it for years. Robbed 25 banks. I'm a pro. You know, no one's ever been hurt on one of my jobs. Not a single person. I'm proud of that.
Nice to meet a man who takes pride in his work. You want to tell me about some of those jobs?
Yeah, right. Talk to my lawyer when we get back to the States.
Rogie was brought back to the United States to face a variety of federal charges. He was tried and convicted on the Islamorada bank robbery and sentenced to 25 years. Rogie was also subsequently sentenced to 20 years on 2 other bank robberies. On September 29, 1985, Rogie was in a Idaho jail waiting transfer to a federal penitentiary.
Rogie. Come on.
What about what I said?
Yeah, just grease the old palm and you got an hour.
Start planning your retirement. I'll get you the money as soon as I get to a phone.
Taught you what you asked for. All the local roads.
Good job.
Ready. Okay, Rogie, recreation time. Go!
Rogie was somehow able to con the jailer. He simply walked out of jail.
The jailer who set Rogie free was sentenced to 5 years for aiding an escape. He served 6 months in prison and is still on probation. Agents say Rogie was back in business 5 months after he walked away from the jail, robbing banks in Arkansas and Louisiana. They estimate his total career take at $2 million. Our best clue may be this distinctive white shock of hair above Rogie's forehead, though agents say he may have dyed it. This 1985 photo shows Rogie wearing prescription glasses, which agents say he may need to wear more often these days. Rogie has several tattoos from his Navy days. This one on his right forearm is an eagle with folded wings. He also has a peacock on his left forearm and a seahorse on his left shoulder. Rogie's seen here partying with his 35-year-old common-law wife, Judy Wilson Rogie. He's believed to still be traveling with her. She's wanted for aiding and abetting a fugitive. The FBI says Rogie has used at least 23 aliases in his criminal career, among them Leslie Rogues, Robert Charles Nelson, and Don Rose. Agents say Rogie's an excellent yachtsman, and he's probably living in a marina or a seaside trailer park. If you've seen Leslie Rogie, pick up the phone. The number is 1-800-CRIME-90. Maybe your call can take Rogie off the FBI's 10 Most Wanted list and put him back behind bars for what could be a minimum of 105 years. We'll be right back.
Do it for a second now.
Not too many. We got our fans to take care
Next,
of.
Richard Church. Friends remember an all-American boy, but police say they're looking for a killer.
The case of Richard Church has received an incredible amount of publicity. It's been the subject of daytime talk shows like Phil Donahue and Geraldo Rivera. Several states have even put up wanted posters of Church as billboards. In the times we profiled Richard Church, we got more than 700 calls from people who said they'd seen him. Even that couldn't catch Richard Church. That's why he's on our list of toughest cases. But police haven't stopped looking for him, and neither have we. Woodstock, Illinois, a small town torn by a single crime that has shattered the quiet forever.
My family lives with a big loss. My parents have both died. We live with a sense of fear because the man who killed them is still out there.
This is a very small community, and everybody is very much like family. I guess everybody's question is why he really did what he did.
Every day there are people that call the office, and what's on their mind is, did you ever catch that guy that killed them two people, Richard Church? They don't forget his name.
Richard Church, a name Colleen Ritter remembered from happier times. She grew up with Church, and by high school they had become sweethearts. In the fall of 1987, Church began his freshman year at Northern Illinois University, while Colleen stayed in Woodstock to finish high school.
Yeah, 2 for Rambo, 3.
Church came home on weekends just to see Colleen. They looked like the perfect couple, but things were starting to change.
Well, I was thinking after prom, maybe we go down to Miami, get married, maybe go to the Bahamas for the honeymoon.
What a joker.
Yeah, great. As long as you get her home by 2.
In May, Church came home from school to take Colleen to her junior prom.
Night, Dad.
Good night, honey.
And although he still dreamed of marriage, Colleen says they were growing apart.
Enjoy your milk.
So you're gonna come see me at school?
I don't think that we should see each other anymore.
What are you talking about?
You're going to college. I want to enjoy my last year in high school. I want to see other people.
Colleen, I love you.
Rick, that's my decision.
Okay, fine. You live with your decision then. See you around.
Church was shattered. He had just watched his parents struggle through a divorce, and now Colleen was pushing him away. On August 19th, he called her for the last time.
I'm doing okay.
Rick?
Yeah.
I've got to go.
All right. I'll talk to you later then.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, honey. How are you doing?
Okay.
How's the movie?
Fine.
Okay, sweetheart. Good night.
Good night.
And shortly before dawn, police say Church walked to Colleen Ritter's home. Police say Church bludgeoned Colleen's parents, stabbed her 12-year-old brother, and then chased Colleen out of the house. In the middle of the street, police say Church stabbed Colleen 23 times. A neighbor frightened Church away just in time to save Colleen's life. Then Richard Church left town. Church went directly to Venice Beach, California. He was staying here at the Calmar Hotel just 2 blocks from the ocean, registered under the alias Randy Hunt. Church stayed the night at the hotel, but it was expensive, so he parked the truck in these garages and slept there for a week. 10 days after the murders, police found the truck in West Hollywood. Their next lead came when Church cashed $300 worth of savings bonds at a bank just a few miles from Venice Beach. That's where the trail turned cold. Richard Church had disappeared. Church had no prior criminal record, no fingerprints on file. Police say with a slight change of appearance, he can easily move around undetected. Another reason he's one of our toughest cases. Here's a 1987 home video of Church at a cousin's birthday party. The tape is 3.5 years old. Police say he may have now changed his looks. He may have grown a beard, dyed his hair, and let it grow longer. Church used to comb his hair forward to hide a mole above his left eye. His eyebrows grow together, so he used to shave them. And he has a scar on the bridge of his nose. Police say he has facial tics. He constantly twitches his nose and blinks frequently. Church is described as shy and reserved, but he can't stand cigarette smoke and lets people know it. He loves to rent movies, especially action films. Church could be using the name Ronnie Quinlan or Ricky Cherney, or another alias using his real initials, RC. Police say Church could be anywhere in the U.S. Maybe you can provide the one clue they need to bring him out of hiding. If you've seen Richard Church, call our hotline at 1-800-CRIME-90. Colleen Ritter's friends and neighbors stood by her through her recovery. And tonight, their entire town hopes something you know can help bring Church to stand trial. Stay with us.
What are you doing?
Should have sold me the car, lady.
No, please.
Should have sold me the car.
Coming up, another of America's Most Wanted's toughest cases. Join the search for Stephen Harrington.
You may remember Stephen Harrington. He's a diagnosed schizophrenic. His bizarre and violent behavior has landed him in mental institutions time and again. Harrington's obsessed with Nazi Germany, and he idolizes Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, the man they called the Desert Fox. Rommel was a genius at outwitting forces trying to catch him. Police have discovered more than once that Harrington, too, has a wily ability to escape capture. In the mid-1970s, Stephen Harrington was struggling to find his way. He left his job as an airline pilot and drifted into a series of odd jobs, but none of them seemed to fit. Harrington's personal life seemed peculiar as well. His girlfriend, Gabrielle Heiser, said he secretly listened in on her telephone conversations.
He moved in with me, and everything went okay for about 2 or 3 weeks. And then I realized that he was having some serious emotional problems.
Harrington began committing irrational crimes. In February of 1978, he used his own car to rob a gas station less than 2 blocks from his home. At his trial, psychiatrists diagnosed Harrington as schizophrenic, and he was sentenced to the state mental hospital, but he was released within a year.
Oh, damn. Have a nice night, old lady.
In January 1983, Harrington was still unpredictable when he showed up at Arnevia Scott's home.
Can I help you?
Hello, ma'am. I came to buy the car.
The car isn't for sale.
He was very pleasant, and just like a neighbor.
Can I get the car?
Well, I got as far as the hall door. I almost turned around in his face because he was that close to me.
No, what are you doing? No, please.
Should have sold me the car. Should have sold me the car.
Arnevia.
Arnevia's 79-year-old husband, Nathaniel, was bedridden and powerless against Harrington.
Why won't you sell me the car?
What's wrong with you?
But Arnevia was able to struggle far enough to find help.
Help us. Please. Help.
All right, hold it right there.
And moments later, police arrested Harrington as he tried to escape.
Lock your fingers behind your head.
Okay. I'm just going to treat you, okay?
The Scott's injuries were so severe, Harrington was held at first for attempted murder. Once again, Harrington was declared insane and sent to the state mental hospital at Pueblo. During his stay, Harrington became obsessed with Nazis and the German Third Reich. He goose-stepped through halls, barking orders at the hospital staff, and illegally changed his name to Dieter Rommel, after Erwin Rommel. Rommel was the Desert Fox, a brilliant German tactician and Harrington's hero. When Harrington escaped in February 1987, Gabrielle Heiser told police she feared he might come after her and her new boyfriend, Harry Cavalos. 6 weeks later, on April 9th, Heiser says she left for work as usual.
Love you too. See you this afternoon.
Police say an assailant arrived at the house about 2 p.m. while Mr. Cavalos was house cleaning. Police haven't charged Stephen Harrington with the murder of Harry Cavalos, but he's their prime suspect. After our October '89 profile of Harrington, you spotted him in Rockledge, Florida, but he got away. After we showed him in November of '88, your tips also found him. He was in Toronto, running a business called Auto Listers. He placed ads for people trying to sell their cars, and police say it was enough for him to survive. Harrington tends to live on the cheap, eating fast foods and staying in inexpensive motels. He's been known to get his rent reduced by helping landlords take care of their property. Harrington is fascinated with Nazi history and likes to collect books about the Third Reich. He also speaks fluent German as well as Spanish. Harrington's used the aliases George Whiteside, Marv Warner, and Brian Vallis. Police say Harrington could be living in the South, possibly Georgia or Florida. If you've seen Stephen Eugene Harrington, also known as Dieter Rommel, call us tonight at 1-800-CRIME-90. Now a tragic footnote to our Miami broadcast 3 weeks ago. We told you about Baby Lollipops, the toddler whose badly beaten body was found in Miami Beach on November 2nd. Last week, Baby Lollipops was identified as 3-year-old Lazaro Figueroa, the son of Ana Maria Cardona.
Did you hurt your child?
She's been charged with first-degree murder, along with her companion, Olivia Gonzalez Mendoza. Those voices you heard in the background were outraged citizens demanding justice for Baby Lollipop. This case has galvanized the people in South Florida, and as you can see, emotions are still running very high. The Miami Beach police who dedicated themselves to this case are arranging a funeral for Lazaro. We'll keep an eye on this case and tell you how it develops. And now, this week's Missing Child Alert.
Have you seen Rosemary Diaz? She disappeared on November 24th. Police say Rosemary was abducted from Dane's Country Store on County Road 424 in Danavang, Texas. She's 15 years old and has brown curly hair and brown eyes. She stands 5'6" and weighs 110 pounds. If you've seen Rosemary, please call.
One last piece of news. Last year, we showed you the story of Paul Castellano. New York City police say Castellano was the godfather of the Gambino crime family. He was murdered in 1985, and police say John Gotti, known as the Dapper Don, took Castellano's place. A federal grand jury indicted Gotti for that murder. 2 days ago, he was arrested and is presently being held. But remember, he's also known as the Teflon Don, since he's been arrested and acquitted 3 other times. Well, we've just learned from our affiliate, New York City, WNYW, that FBI agents have now arrested a New York City police officer in connection with John Gotti's indictment. Allegedly, the officer leaked information on the Castellano murder and on Gotti's last trial. We'll keep you posted. Now, let's take another look at tonight's fugitives. These unidentified gunmen shot 2 armored car guards during a 1989 San Francisco robbery attempt. They left 1 man dead and another paralyzed. Convicted bank robber Leslie Rogie is one of the FBI's 10 most wanted. He was about to start a 110-year sentence when he walked away from an Idaho jail 5 years ago. Richard Church is wanted by Woodstock, Illinois police for the murder of his girlfriend's parents. He's also wanted for trying to kill her. Stephen Harrington escaped from a Colorado mental institution in 1987. He's the prime suspect in the murder of an Aurora, Colorado man. Next Friday, a child custody battle ends with a single shot on Christmas night. I'm John Walsh. Good night from Washington.